Ready?
Yeah.
Y'all ready? I'd like to call this meeting to order. I want to welcome everybody to the October 19th, 2021 meeting. It's 6 o'clock. This time I need approval of the agenda.
So moved, Chairman.
Is there a second?
One change I forgot to discuss this with you. We, transit, every year we have to apply for, it's really 2 years out from now, so it's FY '23. There's just a resolution that the board has to approve to submit the application for transit.
Transit under new business.
Yes, sir.
All right, we got a motion. We got a second with the
Motion to approve with the amended agenda, Chairman.
second. All in favor, aye? Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you. All right, Mr. Jackson tonight's going to do our invocation and pledge.
Let's pray. Father God, we just come to you tonight. Lord, we thank you for the gift of life that you give to each and every one of us. And I just pray that we would take that gift and use it to the best of our abilities with the talents and the gifts that you give us, so that we might better our community, better ourselves, and grow closer to you. Lord, we thank you for the salvation that you and you alone provide to each and every one of us. And I just pray now as we come to this meeting that you would give our leaders discernment and wisdom to be able to do the things in which they should do for the betterment of our community. And it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jack. Move on tonight, consent agenda and approval for minutes. We had the first Tuesday of October 5th, also the executive session that night. If y'all had opportunity to review the minutes.
Sir. Motion to approve, Chairman.
Second. Discussion? None. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. We start tonight with our new business. Mr. Jackson with the county extension staffing is going to have a presentation for us.
Thank you. Awesome. It works. So what I want to do tonight is the university gave me the go-ahead to go ahead and give y'all the options for replacing our county extension agricultural and natural resources agent. So what I want to do is present that to y'all tonight. And I like the TV, so I wanted to do a PowerPoint just for fun, I guess. So and then I made the font really small, so you're welcome. So just to give you an idea of current information of what's going on in our extension office within the agricultural and natural resources realm is the position was vacated in February. Since then, the way in which we've been handling ag issues or calls that come up is if someone calls and they have a specific question, if it's something that I cannot answer according to our UGA rules of what we can and can't answer, we'll then send them to someone in an adjoining county. And then I also have gone out and done site visits, pulled soil samples, hay samples, stuff like that. Our current county contribution into that position is $16,640. And just for your point of reference, the most recent farm gate, which is from 2019, has our farm gate value at $22,162,695. So ag in our community is a $22 million industry. But we said 128th out of 159 counties with that total. So while it's a pretty impressive number of $22 million industry, we are a little lower. But the current volume of contacts that we're receiving from the public for agricultural questions are similar that we've seen in the past. I pulled numbers from 17, 19, and then 21 of September, and they're all pretty similar. So we at least haven't had people not coming to utilize the service because we don't have anyone. So before we get into the options, I want to tell you about the current climate within Extension right now. We have roughly 50 positions that are open across the state right now, currently. and it seems to be growing every day. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to take a look to see how they can reimagine different positions, how they can collectively use or different funding sources to create something that is a little bit more better for everyone type thing. I don't know if I said that right, but that's kind of the concept we're going for. So option one of what they want to do is we would have a Jones County Agricultural and Natural Resources agent with a larger geographical scope. What that would entail would be that the agent would be in county 80% of the week, and they would be in Baldwin County for 20% of the week. The county contribution would reflect those percentages of 80-20 of what the contribution from each county would be. If this option was chosen, then the county would decrease their contribution $640 annually. Yes, yay. And so then the minimum contribution set forth by UGA on that's $20,000. So that's where you'd have 16 coming from Jones, 4 coming from Baldwin. I've discussed some of this with Baldwin County thus far because I'm the administrator over there as well. But I have not gone to seek their permission because y'all would have a bigger chunk of that contribution. So it seemed more fitting to get y'all's approval about all of this, of what we want to do before we moved on and talked to them. So anyway, that's option one. Option two is that we would have a Jones County A&R agent with no additional programmatic responsibilities. That means that they would only be here in Jones County. And if this is selected, UGA is requiring $30,000 of county contribution, which is almost double what we're paying currently. So option three is then the staffing remains pretty status quo. We don't get an agent. I basically continue to do what I can while still trying to run the 4-H program. And there you have it.
What's your thoughts? What would be the best option for the county?
Personally, I think option one would be the best for the county. The decrease there is negligible in my mind of $640 decrease. But if we were to do this right here and do option two at $30,000, we could never walk that back to contribute less. But if we contributed the $16,000 here and down the road we were able to show that we have more of a need, whether it be through more agricultural people in the community or just having a higher clientele, then we could potentially move to having somebody 100% again, but it would be a lot cheaper going that route. That would be my recommendation.
I agree.
All right. You want to put that in a motion?
I do have one caveat that I would like to add.
Go ahead, before we get a motion going.
Thanks, so close, John.
My goal since February has been for me to switch over to the A&R position and to have somebody else come into the 4-H position. And that has been the university's goal as well. In the last conversation I had with them, it was made mention that they wanted to do an interview process and all that kind of stuff, where in my mind it makes sense for the community to go ahead and not have to do a very long process to do the interview, to do a departmental transfer. So I would also make a recommendation that if we did go with option one, that we also recommend to the university that they would do a departmental transfer so that we can get somebody in as soon as possible. But that would be up to y'all.
John?
All right, I make a motion to take option one and recommend to the University of Georgia Extension Service that we do a departmental transfer of Brandon Jackson from 4-H to the A&R position.
Second.
Second. Discussion? None? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All ayes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. tech, we're swapping plugs back there. Tell me when you're ready. All right, authorization, invitation to bid on Government Center roof. Mr. White?
Hey guys, how y'all doing tonight? We did some inspecting on the roof. We've got a lot of black. Our first thought was to go up and try to, clean it, pressure wash it. But underneath that, the surface rust. I'd like to try to get some bids in on see what we can do to coat it, whatever we need to do.
You've got pictures in front of you.
Yeah, I do have pictures.
That black's
Everywhere
actually
you
where
rub
the
it
paint-
up there, you get the rust.
Donald,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, how are we writing the specifications for the worker? Is that something we're doing in-house, or we
Well,
got?
I call it American, no, we won't be doing in-house. It's something that's gonna have to be primed, something that's gonna have to be built in layers is the way they do it. I call it American Weather Star just to find out what our options were. They sent a guy out here. It's very expensive. It gets more money however many year warranty you want with it, But I was talking with John earlier, and he's got a contact too. I just think we need to, see what our options are.
Yeah,
Right.
just, I would recommend us getting somebody that could consult us on the specs on the roof.
Absolutely.
Preferably product agnostic,
Right,
so that-
yes,
You like
yes.
that big word, Chairman?
Big word.
And it
I
would
like
be,
more cheaper, more better myself.
and doing it that way would be a great savings versus replacing the roof.
Right,
That is
absolutely.
astronomical cost.
Yeah, we got 25,000 square foot of roof on this
Right,
building.
that's
That was their selling point to me,
what we have, we can work with.
we can work with, absolutely, so.
Yeah, you just don't want to get a manufacturer's rep guiding it
Yeah.
towards that manufacturer.
Right, yeah, because that
Right
was,
product.
he made the offer to, give us some specs and all to put into the quote process, but, yeah, we'll definitely, follow through.
Do we need it as a request for proposal, or just, since we don't have a bid? How do we need to do that?
I would make a motion to authorize the invitation, but it would be, I think that needed to be dependent on what recommendations we get, the delivery method, because if we're not sure of the exact product we're bidding, we probably need to do it as an RFP so that we can evaluate their proposals
Right.
instead of the hard bid's gonna put everything on us.
Right, absolutely.
So, if they give us three different products, and we say, well, yeah, we want to go with B, we may
Right.
get the specs straight off of it and bid it, may get a better price, but if we don't know what's best for our application, we probably
Right.
want to,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Mr. Kitchen, you want to start us off with them?
Chairman, make a motion to authorize the invitation to bid with the delivery method to be determined by the consultation on the government center roof.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any more discussion? None, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Let's have it. All right, number 3, we need a motion to postpone 3.
Motion to postpone item number 3, Chairman.
Second.
Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right, Commissioner Kitchens, you got a P and Z complaint?
Oh, no, I don't have a complaint, that was just,
I'm not, excuse me.
no, I know we had discussed it before about, there's some discrepancy in how we enter complaints about when it comes to a environmental issue versus a planning and zoning issue, and I think we talked about trying to correct some of that in some of our new ordinances. And I don't know, I thought we had voted on it, but I think maybe we're in that process or whatever. I just gotten a couple of issues that people were not wanting to put an anonymous, they're wanting to put in an anonymous complaint, and I don't know, where we are in that process or what we can and can't do based on our current ordinances.
As I understand it, the anonymous P and Z reporting came about just as a result of a motion that a previous board made, way back. And there were some issues that led to that, I think, but I think if you just wanted to go back to allowing anonymous reports, I think all it would take would be a motion of this board. As best I can tell, and Ashley may know better than I, but I don't think we have anything in our ordinances that says, a P&Z complaint has to be reported, with a name. I think that was just a result of the previous board action.
And I'll confirm that's the case. If there needs to be some sort of small revision done, we certainly can get that made. And Tim, do you have any comment on this particular?
I'm ready to answer questions.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
I did. I would welcome Tim's advice or recommendations or pros and cons of whether we need to look at it. I know I've gotten a lot of calls where the residents would like to see an anonymous option for filing complaints, but I need to know from our end what that means.
Where this came from, specifically, there was an individual running an illegal business on his property, and he'd been doing it many years. He was parking his gravel truck at his house. He'd been parking it there for years and years, and I don't know, maybe he got a bid that some other guy didn't that lived in Lizella. Well, that guy complained to me about this guy parking his truck illegally in Jones County on this property, so we took enforcement action against him. That was done anonymously. So this individual came to the meeting wanting to know, well, who's complaining? Does this person even have standing in our community? Why is he complaining here? Why don't I have a right to confront my accuser here? And the commissioners at that time decided to no longer allow us to accept anonymous complaints. They wanted them signed and handled that way. And prior to that, we had a much higher volume of complaints. We had a lot of neighbors just taking pot shots at each other. You know how people, when they hide behind anonymity, the kind of things that can happen from that. So that was what was going on prior to that, and now we have a lower volume of complaints because people have to sign their name to it.
I would probably put more weight on the complaint rather than the complainer. In other words, the scenario you gave the first time was the guy called, the guy had an illegal business. He was mad because he was reported for having an illegal business. My concern is he had an illegal business. We fixed that problem. I don't care if he's mad at the guy or not, but I do understand that you're going to get a lot of 12 calls on the same issue because Sally don't like Mary, but I think those are one-offs that we can, I would prefer to be able to, I think we're losing a lot of people or some people not filing complaints on a real issue because they're worried about retribution from the offender. So, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we allow for anonymous complaints on the P&Z.
We have a motion. We have a second?
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? None? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Let's have it. Thank you, Tim. Mr. Risner, Haddock streetlights.
So you may recall that some years ago, a couple years ago now, we had, as part of a larger streetscape project, or as part of a TE project, there were some sidewalks. It also included some streetscape work there in Haddock. And it included 4 solar-powered streetlights. And not too long after we had those installed, one of them was hit and fell over. And so that sort of led to a long series of events, and the lights still don't work properly, despite our best efforts to try to get them working again. And so I have talked with Keith Roberts with Middle Georgia Electric and had him look at it and look at the possibility of just converting those over to regular streetlights. And so it would require us to replace the lamp at the top and obviously run wires to those lights. Now it would avoid, so there's a battery system that kind of goes along with that, that you have to replace every so often, and it's very costly to replace those batteries. And so, so doing this would avoid kind of that ongoing cost. And so it does look like it is beyond our bid threshold, probably somewhere in the $15,000 to $20,000 range to replace those fixtures and do that work. But I think it would sort of fix this issue once and for all, hopefully. And so tonight I just wanted to ask for the board's permission to go out for bid to convert those streetlights over to traditional streetlights.
I like that. I've had numerous calls on it, and I think even the one that wasn't hit, the other three have not operated properly. You may go through there one night, and one's working the next night, another one's working. It's no uniformity. Would we use the same pole as far as the decorative that would improve the, or keep the nice streetscape
Yes.
theme going? Okay,
Yes.
good. Underground power to it?
Mm-hmm.
At the directional board?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I like that idea, and it would be an improvement to have it.
Want to make that, put that in a motion?
All right. I make a motion, we go out to bid to convert the solar lights to traditional decorative street lights in Haddock.
A motion, we have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? None, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Courthouse exterior repair, Mr. Resner.
So for a number of years, we've had a courthouse committee that's been working towards renovations and expansion there. At our last meeting of the courthouse committee, we got to talking about some of the repairs that need to be done to the existing structure, regardless of what might be done in the way of expansion. We talked with the architect some about kind of looking at that and seeing what all might be involved there. And obviously, we've got a limited amount of money to work with, and so we want to know what portion of that is going to have to go towards sort of stabilizing, I guess, if you will, the existing structure. And so the architect came back and recommended working with Warren Associates, Warren Selby, to help kind of evaluate the existing structure and what exactly is needed there. And so in your materials there, you have it's not a formal quote, but it's just an estimate from Warren on about what that might cost in terms of their services, and it's $12,500. And so I just wanted to get the board's permission to go ahead and engage them to assist with this project.
Questions from the board?
I think sitting in on some of those meetings, Chairman, I know that we obviously don't have enough money to do what's needed to be done in any manner. So I don't think this would be good money after bad. I think whatever we do to stabilize the courthouse now, it would be used in some, even if it's just a museum at some point, it's the building itself needs to be some upkeep on it. So I don't think this is anything that's not needed regardless of the next step. So I would support it.
Well, we got leaks on it now, isn't that correct, Don? I think he told me last week he was out there trying to patch some leaks on it.
So my question, Mr. Chairman, is do these 4 items address the primary concerns of the court and its needs?
I would say, and I don't want to speak for Judge Green and the others, but I think this doesn't really get at the space issues and that kind of thing. But there are very real issues there with the structure as is. I mean, and I think we're going to need to, at a bare minimum, address those things during any kind of construction process. So I think this will give us an idea of what those are and what it'll cost to fix those.
It's more of a preservation effort.
Maintenance, not renovation.
It's a preservation effort.
And the reason why I ask is because the list is rather limited, and again, I don't know when construction will start, once we finalize or make decisions on the direction we're going. But that's a 4 or 5 year out project, right? Should we add a few more things that they are concerned about? Because legitimately, that could address some things for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I don't know that, these things are so intertwined, the puzzle pieces are so intertwined. I don't know that we can do one without doing the second one, and the second without doing the third one. And that's when it gets outside of the budget that we have. And that's why I thought that we're talking windows, roof, doors, tuck pointing on the bricks and stuff like that, where, I mean, you literally have the infrastructure of the building failing in some areas that have to be repaired, or we're gonna have, more damages from weather-related incidents. So that's why I think that no matter what we do to the building inside to do space utilization part of it, this would need to be done. So I think this is the first step, no matter what the second one is. Judge,
Okay.
does that make sense? That's the way I took it anyway from the meeting. I was just listening and
Hey, you
taking
know,
it in.
when we do repairs on rental property, we want to fix it once, fix it right. And I know we're not trying to fix everything, but I'm just thinking 4 years
Yeah.
down the road, because the minute we break ground somewhere or do something, we're 4 or 5 years out from that.
Yeah, I
So-
think the planning part is still full-on planning
Yeah.
for seeing what needs to be done next.
Okay?
I'd entertain a motion at this time.
I'll make a motion to, what was the recommendation? To utilize services, professional services to assess and address issues with the courthouse exterior repairs.
We have a motion, we have a second?
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? None, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on, Mr. Risner again, naming of Jakes Woods.
All right, now I'll start on this, and Commissioner Kitchens, I think, is familiar with this too, and may have some input. So we've been working with the Conservation Fund, which is the entity that's going to acquire Jakes Woods and hold it until hopefully grant funding comes through for us, and then we acquire it from them. They're working now to structure the agreement between the Conservation Fund and the owner of the Jakes Woods site. The owner there obviously has an interest in ensuring that we honor the history of her family and as we name that site. And as I understand it, their wishes are for us to make sure that Jacob Hutchings is reflected in the name of the site. So, so it may be something like, Jakes Woods. Commissioner, you had a good, and I can't remember how exactly you phrased it, but it was.
But just something about honor and recognition of Jacob Hutchins, and then the blurb about his the history, the family history, what he meant to our community, some of his life's legacy and this type, but also the historical, cultural, and economic value of preserving that property. But I think in discussions with the family, it was, they just wanted to be assured that if they're going to partner with us with the property, that we preserve the namesake and the history of the name. And absolutely, I told him I wasn't going to speak for the board, but in every conversation we've ever had, it's been all about honoring him, his name, and the contribution he's given to the community. So, and I think, not speaking to family either, but I think that's the intent. They just wanted to make sure that we were somewhere publicly saying that's what we were doing, because it's all been in discussion. So I don't know if we just need a motion or if we authorize a letter to the family acknowledging our public intent to preserve the name and the legacy, because I don't think the family knows exactly what to put on there yet. I mean, what do we name it? We talked about it. It's been known as Jakes Woods as long as I've been alive. So, but
It could be like a historical marker, the details of
right.
that.
Right.
because we want it to, I would think we would want it to recognize Jacob Hutchins in name so that people would know what Jake's Woods is and where it come from, so.
I think it's important we have both of them on there.
Oh, yeah.
Jake's Wood, because it's been a, I mean, like you said, as long as I've ever, heard it was Jake's Wood.
So, is that, how do we have it on it? Just, were we just looking for acknowledgement, or do we need a vote for Jason to send a letter on behalf of the board to the family?
Yeah.
Okay. Make a motion, Chairman, authorize County Administrator to send a letter to the Hutchins family and acknowledging our intent for naming, recognizing, and honoring the Hutchins family property.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? None, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right, the added agenda item of your transit, Mr. Redner?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, and this is just the resolution authorizing the filing of an application with Georgia DOT and US DOT for a grant for public transportation assistance under 49 USC 5311, which is the code section under which our transit is formed. And so I would just need a request a motion from the board to authorize the signing of that resolution.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right, Mr. Redner, you want to take letter slogan?
Yes, sir. Just a quick update on that, and we don't have to figure it out sitting here tonight, but I would just ask the board to kind of think about how you want to evaluate the submissions for the litter slogan contest. We had maybe 10, maybe a dozen entries there, and just any thoughts y'all have about how to evaluate those and judge them and ultimately select a winner there, just please do let me know.
I like the way we did the budget. You can list them out and we all vote on,
Okay.
and then you bring it back to us and say this got the most number ones and most number twos.
Yeah,
Can we
that
include
sounds-
can we include our black committee also?
That's a good idea.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right.
Because I think that gives us more ones, twos, and threes than just
Mhm.
4 or 5 of us, 6 of us.
Would you
So,
want to
yeah.
have that as a work session, 30-minute work
Yeah,
session before the next
sure.
meeting?
Yeah.
Oh, we have a PFA board meeting before the next meeting.
Hour before or
But
30.
the PFA is at 4.
Okay.
All right.
So you want to do this at 5:30?
5:30.
Okay. If we can do it in 30 minutes.
Yeah,
We should be able to.
Sure we can.
Yeah.
All right. All right, State Physical Recovery Fund. Mr. Redner, you're up again.
All right. So we've had some additional dialogue with Windstream since they presented to you originally. They have now, rather than asking us to be the lead applicant on an application, they have just asked for a letter of support from this board. I did reach out to the Governor's Office of Planning and Budget to see if you could submit multiple letters of support. And they said you can. You can submit as many as you want for as many different projects as you want. And so Windstream has just come asking if you would consider doing that for them for the project they described. So.
And to clarify, I think they were originally asking that the application come from you all because that's what the guidelines stipulated, but those guidelines are constantly changing and now they can submit on their own.
Sure.
And don't have to ask for you all to do that on their behalf.
So is OPB going to do the grading?
Yes. Well, I take that back. There's a committee of legislators.
That's
The-
right, I remember seeing them.
There's separate ones. There's a broadband committee, one for water and sewer, and one for,
Yeah.
or maybe it's just the two.
Yeah, I remember seeing the names of those on. So, and I'll say it's what I've said from the beginning is I have no problem giving letters of support to any and all of them. I think our top priority is the constituents of Jones County. And if one letter of support is detrimental to another company getting the funding, that's not in our best interest, I don't think. So, you know, I would support it as long as we're not supporting something that hurts something else. And I don't care if it's one application or three. We need to get behind your best horse, I guess, you know. And whatever that means.
Thoughts? What's the board want to do? We don't want to do nothing.
You know, I think we've made a pretty good decision on the first. And like Sam, I don't want to do anything that's contradictive or even cannibalistic. I'll use that word, right? Because at the end of the day, if we believe that their plan was better initially, we probably would have went that route. I do recognize that Windstream does serve some subsets that the other proposal doesn't. But I think overall, we've made, I think, our position clear with supporting Tri-County.
Okay. If there's no action tonight, we'll move on to department heads. Mr. Lowe, you got anything?
We got Jackson Road open back up.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Fixed wet run over down there, Otis Redden and Jackson. And, Hillsborough Lake, it didn't wash. I mean, it washed on the low side. We got that fixed. And, they're working on Sturt. They got that pipe in today. And got a crowd working on, Pine View. I hope by Thursday we're gonna have that done.
Appreciate all y'all's hard work. This weather, nobody was prepared for it. Mr. White, you got anything?
Yeah, we're back on our fall maintenance on all buildings, so we'll be coming through, everybody.
All right. Mr. Jackson, you got anything else tonight?
No, sir.
Mr. Risner?
Quickly, I'll share that MATS, the Macon Area Transportation Study, recently sent out several different things asking for project submissions or requests for assistance. One of those is the MATS 2050 list, where they're looking at sort of long-range transportation projects. So if there's anything the board's interested in there, I'll send you more information on that, and you can let me know. Another is the 2023 call for activities, I believe it is, and that's where if there's anything in the MATS area of Jones County, which is sort of the up to 18 on down, sort of towards the southeastern portion of the county, if there are any activities there that we need their assistance on, that's what they're looking for there. And then the final thing is they have there's some money that's become available for Rails to Trails projects. So if there's any interest in looking at any of those, they are apparently there's some federal money out there that may help with that, and the MATS assistance would just be in that area, so it wouldn't extend outside of that. But those are three things that they sent out recently, and wanted to share those with you. And I'll send out more information on those, and just any suggestions or thoughts you might have, please let me know.
Real quickly on the Rails to Trails, I know we had talked years ago, and I think even in the meeting in here, we put the Rails to Trail project to connect Macon, Jones, and Baldwin County. Is that up as an option?
For this, the whatever portion falls in the MATS area, I think would be something that could be looked at there. I don't want to say for sure,
Right.
but yeah, I think I'm happy to inquire about that.
Okay.
I don't think it cares all of Baldwin County, but I think the way the circle is on the maps that we sit in, it would get the lower portion. Nothing tonight?
I have nothing. Just
All
laying
right.
in my lane, nothing.
Chairman, if I can, I know we got some people here that were interested in the water and sewer and the PFA items that were on the PFA list. I don't think our PFA meeting was televised. Can you or Jason give a quick update of what we did, it was. Never mind. I didn't know we televised, or recorded it.
Okay.
And televised it, did we?
All right.
It was really just an administrative meeting
Yeah,
to
okay.
establish roles, chairperson,
Yeah.
vice chair.
Right.
And the next meeting date, and to explain to the members really the goals of that board moving forward.
And I have minutes posted.
Okay, perfect.
So the ones that are here, we're still on schedule exactly like we were the first meeting, so we're good.
Citizen comments, anyone tonight? Judge Green, I didn't mean to leave you out. Did you have anything? All right. Anybody in citizen comments?
Sir, I make a comment?
Come on forward.
Do I have to get up?
Yeah, you go ahead. We don't know who you are or where you live.
You did look comfortable.
Hey, boy. Hey, when you get my age, it's tough to get up. I just want to remind you all that I think you sent us a code of ordinances that you'd put together back in August. I believe it was about the 15th of August. We looked them over. We sent our changes, proposed changes back to y'all. I think it was on
I
the
have not
30th.
seen any proposed changes.
It was addressed to
Send it to me.
Mr. It
Did you
it was
copy anybody on it?
copied to all of you.
Okay,
Did y'all receive them?
okay.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry you didn't.
That's
I
okay.
didn't
just
have your
didn't want
email.
you all to
Oh,
wonder why
okay.
nothing was to being done, but
Oh,
I have
okay.
not seen the proposed changes.
Okay.
Okay. The
Yeah.
We
main lady that needs
I
to get them
didn't
right
know
here.
Okay.
you all had reviewed them, so.
Well, we'd do a better job following Would it come that. from But you, we, Frank?
Yeah,
yeah.
it's on
But-
August 30th.
I
You
remember
should have
getting
got it about the 30th day of August according to my email.
I remember going through it and everything. I didn't realize you didn't get
It
it.
was 3 attachments
You got it
on there
now.
for
All right.
y'all.
Jaylon just forwarded it
Okay.
to us. Great.
All right, well,
Let me
I'll move
ask
on.
you this, Mr. Frank, since we are doing a work session anyway at 5:30 regarding the litter slogan,
Right.
maybe we should meet at 5 in case there's any comments about the changes that
Okay.
you all are requesting, so we
Okay.
Right.
can talk about the changes.
Right.
That sounds great to me.
Right.
Before I just go changes.
Is that,
That's a good idea.
All right, let's
that's
do
it,
that.
y'all? Okay.
When will that be?
5 o'clock before the next meeting, which is first Tuesday in November.
November
I
2nd.
may not be able to be here. Okay. But anyway, we had made some notations on it and sent it back to y'all for your review. And yeah, that'd be great to get and move this on. Because, we've only been working on this for about
I'm
4
ready to
years
finish
now.
it too.
Somewhere along.
Amen.
The other thing that I have is, and I'll be very brief, we also in that we ask y'all to look at a video of Comcate. We're not saying that Comcate is what we need, but we feel that we need a environmental code software. We don't need a catch-all that catches everything. And I've been talking to several occasions. I've had the opportunity to talk to the folks in Albany, Georgia. They have this Comcate. Again, I'm not pushing that. I'm just saying that that's what seems to work best for code enforcement. I talked with her several weeks ago, and she says that all their officers have tablets. They go to the field in the morning. They are proactive. In their community, Daughtry County, I think is 80,000 people, and they've got 10 code enforcement officers. So they had a big mess down there because we only have one for 30,000 people. So I asked her about of those 10 officers, they got 2 certified police officers. They mean business about their code enforcement, and they're doing something about it. And I asked her about being proactive versus reactive, and that came up here tonight. And she says we're proactive first, and then we're reactive. By this software, the citizen that turns it in can follow that. They can track how that's been, and I think Sam, you mentioned one time about you had maybe had a problem with that, but anyway, that
the citizen can track that. They have a problem with anonymous calls. People don't like to turn in issues because of reprisal from whoever, neighbors, whoever. And in the last 6 months, I probably got more complaints on code enforcement than the code enforcement officers got. They don't want to give their name. You know, they just don't want to give it. But anyway, I'm going to leave you with this. She says that I asked her about the status when something is, you know, do you get, what happens? She says, oh yeah, we get all the time. You know, we get complaints, you know, coming in and say, we're going to sue you, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. She said, we've got a code of ordinances that we have to go by. And it's not personal. We don't target anybody. They complain about targeting. And we go out and do a job that our codes says that we got to do. And that cuts down on the callbacks. The callback, we're going back and back and back on the same issue. They seem to put it to rest pretty quick. Don't have to return. Thank y'all.
Hey, thank you. Anyone else tonight? Citizens?
I just want, George Scoville, along that same line, remember what the hard work that Travis Douglas did on these cameras. Have y'all not?
We haven't found anything yet that, I mean, he's looking into it, but we want to make sure we get something that we're just not throwing money at.
Okay, Well, I hadn't heard anything on that, and I want to make sure that hadn't been.
That's been the big, I promise you, that's been the biggest hurdle. Is the last thing we want to do is just put a camera out there that's never going to serve a purpose. I'll double check with him, but he's still scratching his head at
Okay.
what we can get that, and we kind of need something that has a dual purpose also, that we can have not only but litter, but it also maybe help in the, say somebody's in a stolen car. It may be ID it. And that's the kind of stuff, if we can get out there, it can serve multiple purposes. And we haven't found that yet. But,
And I will put in one plug. Please look at that Comcast system, because it is a piece of cake.
all right, thank you very much. Anyone else? Commissioner Martin, you want to start us off tonight?
Yes, sir. God bless you. On the Blight Committee, I did want to say that I appreciate, again, the work that they've done, and I want us to really look at it now that you have it. It makes more sense why traction hasn't happened. So,
If y'all want changes, I probably need to see them.
all right, and with regard to that, we have committees that we want to get up and get back active. I want to add Blight as one of those active committees, you know, that is under what commissioners should be focused on. Because it's a low-hanging fruit, but it's one of those things that is now the big issue for us, right? And then with regard to that, they brought up the status. I'd like to know where we are right now. I know the software's been out there for a while, but even before the software, we still had complaints in the system. So can we get an update on what complaints we have? What's the status of those? And for the ones that have been closed, you know, where we are. And then to really evaluate, is one enough? If this is the issue that our constituents are requesting that we address, then if we need another staff member, much like the golf course or Public Works anywhere else, let's add the staff member to meet the needs of our community. And then with regard to the committees, again, we talked about it a little bit. We didn't take an action, but want to, again, activate the Parks and Rec, because some of us are getting more calls, and just like last week, the last meeting, we did entertain one of those issues that is relevant to all of us, creating good space for our kids. And I want to be able to meet that where citizens have an active part in that. Because right now, we do all the decision-making, and that's okay. But having their input makes this process a little better, and I believe it is more inclusive and transparent too, so they don't think there's some mystical thing happening with us, short of an executive session. So that's all I have, Chairman, and workforce development. If you can get us some numbers of where we are as a county and as a region, excellent.
Next week.
Appreciate it.
All right. Commissioner Vaughn?
thank you to Public Works. A lot of hard work went out last week while we were out of school, getting roads back ready. I appreciate it. Sitting in my chair as transportation director, having people not believe of the amount of water that moved through Jones County in a short period of time and did lots of destruction. I mean, I ran into John on a road and, you know, he says, "Where's your mud boots?" I was out there in dress shoes because I had been at a funeral. So, yeah. But I was assessing roads and he was sending me pictures too. So it was great having the connection, and always is. So thank you for y'all's guys working that hard. I mean, they were even scraping roads last week, you know, that didn't have much damage, but they were out there scraping them, so thank you. Thank y'all to the board too. I appreciate we always working good together. Even though Daylon over here said.
He's on Sour Patch.
Appreciate
The
these.
name of his drink.
For those that don't know, there's a new place in Gray, and I got drinks for everybody. They're nutritional drinks that have no sugar in them, so.
And they all got what they thought of us. I got all-nighter. Sour Patch.
Sour Patch over here.
What'd you get?
I had a salted caramel mocha coffee.
Dracula.
Captain America and Crazy Eggs.
And then Jason had Friday the 13th, and Shannon had tomahawk chop. She was gonna bringing in the Braves there. So if y'all haven't been there, you know. I also want to mention that Dairy Queen in Gray. Oh, what's the name of it? It's called Hot Corner Nutrients. Dairy Queen in Gray. If nobody's looked at their Facebook post today, I think everybody needs to take time to look at it. Next Thursday is Miracle Network Day, and most stores across the nation that go in with the Dairy Queen, they do a certain percentage of sales on their Blizzard sales for the day. Our little bitty Dairy Queen in Gray, Georgia is donating 100% of all sales on Thursday, the 28th. They're taking pre-sales on Blizzard. So if you want to get for your whole staff, you can go ahead and put your orders in. They'll already have them froze for you. But then they also have quite a few business owners that are going to match 100% whatever the total sales are that day. So looking for big numbers for Jones County.
And I think one of the most significant parts of that is there's 50 employees for Dairy Queen. Every employee is donating their salary for the day.
Wow.
Wow.
I think that's huge.
Wow.
Oh my God, that is.
Wow.
So you talk about buying it, they don't buy it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Well, thank you. Commissioner Wood?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also want to thank Public Works, EMA, Sheriff's Office for all their hard work and dedication. There was some tricky moments there during all that heavy rains. People, you know, had some challenging times during that, whether it was getting out of their houses or getting to and from work. So I appreciate all the hard work. And that brought about a bridge that was severely damaged here in the county. And I would like to get with Jason and at the next meeting have it on the agenda to see what state, federal, local funds we can get to start the process of replacing the bridge on Union Hill Church Road, because it had the middle pillar was completely washed away and the bridge is kind of, it's not really even safe to walk across now. So it was
It was the last wooden bridge too. In
yes, it was the last wooden bridge, and I know we probably won't be able to replace it with a wooden bridge, but a nice concrete structure that can be supportive of, you know, fire trucks or anything else that may need to go across it.
We didn't even take buses over it.
Right,
anymore.
but it'd be nice to have something that's rated that you can take a fire truck across or any vehicle needed.
It was a strong one in its day.
Mhm.
I tested it many a time.
Oh, I know.
Back in my day, I wouldn't do it again.
Right, time for an upgrade, but we need to keep that road open and, so, all right, thank you.
Commissioner Kitchen?
And there sure were a lot of wooden bridges when I first started driving, but we
yeah.
won't go there. No, I'll echo what they said too, to EMA, Sheriff's Department, Fire Rescue, and especially Public Works, and even our school system, to be able to pivot like that, when something hits that strong. And our community too. I probably got 10 or 15 calls of, where are we on the roads, or what's happening with the roads? This looked really bad on the news. When are we going to be able to, is it safe to travel? Is it still underwater? And when you tell people, look, I know your road is flooding, but 25 other people's roads are flooding too, and we only have a certain amount of public works. They were really understanding when they understood that it hit the whole county. It didn't just hit one road. So kudos to our public works team and all of them getting out. I would just remember that a lot of times when you're in the middle of it, in the midst of the emergency part, we do a lot of let's get fixed what's emergency right now. So there's a lot of roads that they got a lot of work still to do, because there's a lot of roads that need repairs, not just emergency fixes. So appreciate what y'all do, John, and please tell all the guys that we appreciate everything they're doing.
Thank all of y'all. All right, we need a motion to adjourn, go into executive session for real estate, economic development, and personnel.
So moved.
Second.
Say, all in favor, aye?
Aye.